I don't think anybody's worn a hat like this since like 2016. I'm backing it out, and we're going to talk running backs today. Specifically, players that maybe are not the starters that we think are the starters according to ADP. Maybe a little handcuff primer edition. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list of ADP of the best or highest drafted running backs to the lowest drafted running backs. And we're just going to talk about who's the guy, who's not the guy, and if that is the guy, then who is the guy you need to handcuff? And at this point, you know what time it is. Roll that damn intro. Alright, so starting us off first here, coming in at RB14 on Underdog, that is Omarion Hampton. And now I'm not saying Omarion Hampton is a handcuff running back, but I think we need to stay open to the idea that this could be a split backfield. I will start by prefacing, Omarion Hampton is a very skilled running back. He's definitely worth his RB14 ADP and could absolutely smash that if he runs away with the starting job. However, Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, having him decide which running backs get to be deployed out at certain times kind of scares me of drafting Omarion Hampton. I'm not going to lie to you. Prior to J.K. Dobbins running away with the starting job, they were trying to deploy as many backs as they possibly could. They were sprinkling in Kamani Vidal whenever they had the chance to. No, he never got the starting job like I thought he would. I think drafting Omarion Hampton will pay off for you, and I think it's going to kind of trickle out or play out like Jahmyr Gibbs did a few years ago in his rookie season. And the reason why I feel like this is going to play out this way is because Najee Harris right now is probably going to be the guy who takes those early down carries. We're probably going to see him in short yardage situations, runs between the tackle, and most importantly, goal-to-go situations, which makes Najee Harris pretty valuable at his ADP, if you ask me. And even though Gus Edwards wasn't a great running back by any means, he still took a good portion of their goal-to-go carries and scored touchdowns. Out of their 10 total on the season, he did have 4 of them. So they were spread out and shared amongst J.K. Dobbins and himself. A positive way of looking at it would be that maybe Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris could split those goal line works again in 2025, but I think that Najee Harris could carve himself out this role where he is the goal-to-go back for at least most of the season. So the starter here in this split backfield, I'm probably going to say early on in the season it's going to be Najee Harris, and then probably around week 9, week 10, we'll start to see a lot more of Omarion Hampton, which if you're trying to make a playoff run, that's probably the guy you're looking for, Omarion Hampton. But to coast through the regular season and get by, Najee Harris will do that. Next up is a controversial one. Some people believe that everything's going to keep going the same way it has been for years. Some people see age, wonder when is that regression coming. For me, at RB16, Alvin Kamara, I'm not expecting regression, but I will keep an open mind to that if they want to preserve Alvin Kamara and keep continuing to get that 6-7 receptions out of him and those dozen carries that he gets, that somebody else is also going to have to get sprinkled in or mixed in into the offense. And while that may not mean standalone fantasy value for one of either Kendre Miller or Devin Neal, I think we should keep an open eye and monitor Devin Neal throughout training camp. Devin Neal is someone that is given by his nickname, Sweet Feet Neal, a swift runner that can make explosive plays for this offense when given the opportunity. I get a lot of Joseph Randle kind of vibes from him, or a backup Tony Pollard version where you just throw this guy in as like a change of pace guy and he can explode.
Oh, these aren't homemade. They were made in a factory. A bomb factory. They're bombs.
Not saying I predict something were to happen to Alvin Kamara, knock on wood. I think having Devin Neal as the handcuff or projecting Devin Neal as the handcuff is the smart way to go about it. We've seen Kendre Miller in limited opportunities, and while he was never great, he wasn't terrible either, and I feel like that just makes it that much more of a competition. We're going to have a real competition the next few weeks to see who's really going to be that backup guy. Is it Devin Neal or is it Kendre Miller? And whenever I'm picking between two straws, I'm just going to go with the rookie, honestly. I'm going to go with the upside and I'm going to chase it. And I'm not saying it'll work out this way. Nobody was really chasing Bucky Irving, the rookie, last year in the offseason because there was a guy, Rachaad White, that we knew catch passes out of the backfield, makes explosive plays, gets it done. And then what happened? Bucky Irving happened. So with a late round flyer, if I'm drafting Kamara, I definitely want Devin Neal to make sure that I have some sort of running back production from this offense. And what I think is the best part about Alvin Kamara at his RB16 ADP, let's just say worst case scenario, he is only getting 10 to 12 carries, still gets his receptions, but somebody else is also getting 10, 11 carries on the ground. The value of what Alvin Kamara brings in terms of receptions, having 5, 6, 7 catches consistently in this offense, he's not going to be any worse than a mid-range RB2, even if he was getting split carries. So as it stands today, Alvin Kamara RB16, great pick. If you need a handcuff, or if you're trying to make sure that you don't lose that one guy, you went hero RB, he was the best available, and you need to make sure you have a guy all year long, I really like Devin Neal at the end of your drafts. Ironically enough, similar in ADP, similar in production over the last however many years, similar into, we're wondering, when is this regression ever going to happen if it happens? And that's RB20 James Conner. And just like Alvin Kamara, this is another running back that, when healthy, refuses to give us a bad fantasy football season. We're probably not talking a split backfield here, but if we were, or if we needed somebody to handcuff in this offense, we're definitely looking at Trey Benson last year, who a lot of people were really high on last year. Still, some people are still high on to this day. Can't deny that there's opportunity, and he would be next in line. So does James Conner have backfield competition? Right now, no. Do we know who the handcuff is? Probably Trey Benson. Moving on to RJ Harvey. Ha 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 ha. I'm even laughing because you either watched my last video and know exactly what I'm going to say, or you didn't watch my last video and you're going to go watch it right now. As much as I like the skill set and believe in him as a running back, Sean Payton can be a little dastardly, to say the least, when it comes to playing different running backs. And we saw it come to fruition last year. Whether that was because nobody could get the job done for them efficiently enough, or because that's just Sean Payton's thing, I'm not too sure. If RJ Harvey is even thought of being deployed in a split backfield, kind of ruins the value of what you're getting him at and where his ADP is going to cost you. And part of the reason why I feel like we could be open to an idea or a possibility of him splitting carries in the backfield is eminent is because he still doesn't have a contract to this day as I'm recording this video. And again, could change by tomorrow, could change in the next 30 minutes. But you know what I know right now? He's going to be to training camp late. He's going to be holding out for guaranteed money, and somebody else like Audric Estime, who's already on contract, somebody like J.K. Dobbins, who's way more in line to take a bulk of the carries right now because he's starting training camp with the team, that kind of scares me. J.K. Dobbins was soaring once he signed with the Denver Broncos, and now his ADP is kind of settled at RB36, and I think it's worth a flyer. The sample size of when J.K. Dobbins is healthy, although it might be very small, is a very efficient running back in fantasy. Moving on to Treveyon Henderson, another rookie who's yet to sign his rookie contract. I do want to start by saying, Treveyon Henderson supporter here. Not that words mean anything in the offseason. We definitely prioritize actions over words. But Josh McDaniels seems like a big supporter of Treveyon Henderson himself, talking about getting plays specifically designed so that he can get onto the field and make an impact for them. My only concern right now would be Rhamondre Stevenson, and it's not because I think Rhamondre Stevenson is this all-world amazing running back. Rhamondre Stevenson is consistently known for being able to handle a large bulk load of the volume. Dissecting the backfield and what it is, we're potentially looking at a complementary backfield here. We have the bigger, stronger, more able to get these touchdowns in the red zone or goal-to-go situations for the Patriots. That's Rhamondre Stevenson. And then you have your scat back, do-it-all back, catches passes out of the backfield, extremely quick. That's Treveyon Henderson. Little fun fact about Treveyon Henderson. Over 7 yards a carry in his last season in college. Yes, you heard that right. That's like Devon Achane rookie efficiency level. So yeah, I'm a fan of Treveyon Henderson and what he can do. If he's not going to sign a contract anytime soon, it's going to make it more and more likely that we're going to get a split committee, which absolutely sucks because I think Treveyon Henderson could be a star in fantasy if he gets all of the opportunities and can run away with this job. But Rhamondre Stevenson at RB39 may just be more than a handcuff for the New England Patriots offense. This could very well be their goal-to-go touchdown puncher. And moving on to our next running back of discussion, that's going to be David Montgomery, who we're all very familiar with as a guy that, even though is in a split backfield, gets the job done year after year. But I gotta be honest, in 2025, in a new look offense for the Detroit Lions, I'm a little hesitant to draft anybody whose names aren't Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams. And the reason why I feel this way, maybe I'm being a little too pessimistic about the reality of the situation. A lot of people are just expecting that the Detroit Lions, this juggernaut of an offense that we've been seeing over the years, is going to lose their OC and just not miss a beat. They're still going to be the exact same offense. I just don't know where you can figure that. I know John Morton, their new offensive coordinator, has a great connection with the city and already the coaching staff in Detroit, but it's still a new guy taking over the job, and you don't really know what's going to happen. His last 2 seasons were spent as the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos. Last year in 2024, job well done, Coach Morton. 2023, they didn't really have a quarterback, but the only other time he was an OC, 2017, the New York Jets. Again, maybe that's just a bad situation, but we all know that wasn't a very good passing offense in 2017. So I guess I'll give you a pass. What we know is it is John Morton's first crack at it with a competent roster. But again, I don't really know how good or how bad of a job he's going to do. I don't know if he plans on using David Montgomery the exact same way they've been continuing to use him. But what makes the decision that much harder, is it a good pick to draft David Montgomery? Is it worth it? Is it not? Is he going to continue to be a complimentary back in this offense? Is that in every single year of his career, he's never finished lower than RB24 in PPR. Now, that should be something that makes you feel good. Part of me just wants to believe that that trend has to end eventually. You can definitely make the argument he's being drafted at his floor. Moving on to the next running back room. This is a split backfield. These RBs come right off the board after each other, give or take maybe one RB spot. But that's Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scadaboo. We briefly spoke about this on the live stream the other night. By the way, if you haven't been watching, Mock Draft Monday. We live stream every Monday mock drafts on Underdog. Make sure you go check those out. Ironically, if you weren't following the entire offseason, Tyrone Tracy had RB34 after he ran away with the starting job that he wasn't supposed to win to begin with. RB34 sounds like a great pick. This guy was borderline top 25. He was great. He was a must-start play when you had him. However, because you do follow up with the offseason, you do know that the Giants drafted Cam Scadaboo to join their running back room. Cam provides a layer to this RB room that they really haven't had in a while. Cam Scadaboo is this small, Mighty Mouse kind of figure, can just run over, loves contact, is not afraid of it, and is twitchy enough to just get in and out and make people miss. He may not be the fastest back, but he provides a little bit of the power in between the tackles, can catch passes out of the backfield, and can get a little twitchy in open space. And that really complements somebody like Tyrone Tracy, who's a pretty speed runner and likes to get to the outside. Tyrone Tracy was also great in the passing game last year, was getting a lot of targets, but it may have just been in part of the Giants not really having anybody to throw to some weeks. Like, other than Malik Neighbors, where could you have thrown the ball to? I like Scadaboo, honestly. Probably going to end up being a stash pick, even though RB35 isn't really a stash ADP. I really do like the opportunity here of grabbing the cheaper running back, even if it only is a one spot in ADP difference. Now let's move on to the Tennessee Titans running back room. Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears are the next ones, and Tony Pollard is going first in drafts. Now put yourself back in time a year ago. At this time, Brian Callahan came out and told us that Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard are 1A and 1B. That made Tony Pollard's ADP drop just a little bit, not significantly, but nonetheless, still got him at a discount, and Tyjae Spears ended up getting hurt early on, and it was just Tony Pollard ever since. Assuming that it doesn't go anything like 2024, in the first 4 to 5 games, both of these backs are healthy, they're probably going to alternate off of being, who's got the hot hand and who doesn't. If Brian Callahan is still continuing to sit here and say that he wants to get Tyjae Spears more involved with the football this year, and also said it last year, that tells me they don't love Tony Pollard. If they loved what they had in Tony Pollard, they would be wearing it on their chest, high and proud, this is our guy. So if I had to pick which one of the two running backs I want in this Tennessee Titans backfield, I'm going to go Tyjae Spears. They keep finding ways to just bring him up, make room on the field for him to play, and I think if he has a healthy season, he could take the job from Tony Pollard. I know this video is long, But I have 2 more backfields that I want to discuss, and then we're done. Let's be honest, if I sat here and did every single one of the 32 teams, this would be a really long video and nobody would watch. So instead, let's talk Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, and Bashal Tutin. And Travis Etienne is soaring in ADP right now. That's a red flag. I'm a little concerned. My first initial thoughts was to go on Google search and maybe find something that I don't know about. This Travis Etienne ADP seems more just like a market correction than anything else. We were a little too low on somebody that could potentially win the starting backfield job. Has already been a great running back in fantasy for us before. Specializes in catching passes out of the backfield, which helps because Tank Bigsby does not provide that element to the offense, so they can work together still. That is a real possibility. But I would also get my shares of Bashal Tutin. I think this guy could find his way to maybe even lap one of the 2, Tank Bigsby or Travis Etienne. Maybe an injury arises. Who knows? If Travis Etienne were to miss time, I think Tank Bigsby is the handcuff. I think he's someone that will just end up getting a bulk of the carries. Bashal Tutin will get sprinkled in, but it would be Tank Bigsby's backfield if something were to happen to either Etienne or even Tutin. And finally, the Dallas Cowboys. A messy backfield. We saved the worst for last. Javonte Williams is the RB41 on Underdog right now, and year after year, whether it's injury, whether it's him playing the full season last year, Javonte Williams has shown us he is not him. Plain and simple. He literally did everything in his power, aside from one Thursday night game, to absolutely lose himself the starting job in Denver. And this was a team that had a good offensive line and was middle of the pack in rushing. So it would be really interesting to see how much better of a rushing offense the Denver Broncos become by getting rid of this guy who couldn't do anything for them. I'm throwing my chips in the Jade and Blue basket. I'm going to stay away from Pookie and Booby. I don't want Javonte Williams. I don't want Miles Sanders either. And if we know that neither one of these guys in their careers, Javonte Williams or Miles Sanders, has gotten it done, which means all roads point to Jaden Blue here. We need to be drafting him. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. This is my running back handbook, hand guide, the handcuff primer, whatever you want to call it. This is my running back guide for the offseason. We talked about who is that guy, who's not that guy, who's going to be that guy, and if something were to happen to our guy, who do we want to handcuff? And if you watched this entire video and made it to this far, thank you so much for watching. If you like fantasy football content, and only if you like fantasy football content like this, make sure you smash that like button. I would truly appreciate that. And if you're new here, you love fantasy football content, you think I'm out of my bird, drop a sub down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy. And I will see you in the next video. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. And that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.